This is a recording for section 8.6 called Cars. So the last three sections we're going to talk about the cost of cars, home ownership, and the very last section will be credit cards. So I think maybe most of you are not looking to buy a home yet, but maybe a car. So a loan that you pay off with weekly or monthly payments, or payments in some other time period, usually it's monthly, is called an installment loan. The advantage of an installment loan is that the consumer gets to use the product immediately. The disadvantage is that the interest can add a substantial amount to the cost of the purchase. Let's begin with car loans in which you make regular monthly payments called fixed installment loans. The loan payment formula for fixed installment loans, and this is formula, the very last formula on your formula sheet. This is going to be the formula for any type of loan. Car loan, house loan are the ones that we're going to look at specifically. But this PMT figures out your monthly payment on the loan. The formula number 6, remember, was a savings formula for annuities. This is, again, a monthly payment. It's a monthly amount, but it's a loan payment instead of how much you're putting in. The big difference here you'll notice is that there's a negative NT in the exponent. So make sure that when you're punching that in, if you have the TI-30X11S, it'll be the bottom right on the bottom of your calculator next to the decimal point is the actual negative button. Do not use the subtraction button on the calculator because that is not the correct button. I've had people use that in the past and can't figure out what the error is, but that's use the negative button on the calculator. Suppose that you decide to borrow $20,000 for a new car. You can select one of the following loans, each requiring regular monthly payments. So the first loan is a 3-year loan at 7%. And loan B is a 5-year loan at 9%. And then we're going to find the monthly payments for each type of loan and decide which is the better loan. Right, the shorter loan, right, you're paying it off earlier, so the monthly payments are going to be a little bit higher, but you're going to pay less in interest. Whereas the second one, you're going to pay more in interest, but your monthly payment's going to be a little bit lower. So let's find the monthly payments and round to the nearest dollar for loan A. So our payment formula, I'll go ahead and write it out again. You can just look in your notes at the last slide or on the last formula on your formula sheet. All right, again, if you have any trouble with the calculator part, just see an instructor or a tutor to help you with this. Okay, so we're borrowing $20,000, so that's our P. And if it's regular, if it's monthly payments, it's compounded monthly, even though it doesn't say that at 7%. If it's monthly payments, that actually means compounded monthly. So N is 12. And for the first part, a 3-year loan, so times 3, and the rate is 7%, so that's 0.07. So for part A, we do 20,000. 0.07 is the rate, and monthly payments means monthly compound interest, so N is 12. Parenthesis 1 minus 1 plus 0.07 divided by 12 to the negative N times T. Close the bracket there. And with any exponent, we're going to do that out first, so this actually becomes negative 36 in the exponent. So you can punch that in exactly as it is if you have this calculator. 20,000, 0.07 divided by 12, close the parenthesis, divided by, that's the numerator, divided by parenthesis, 1 minus actually I think I have a extra one in there. This one shouldn't be in there. If you notice, I just counted the forward parentheses and the backward parentheses, and I put an extra one in there over here too. All right, this, and then the orange ones. All right, that's why you always count them. So, orange one, 1 minus parenthesis, 1 plus 0.07 divided by 12, close a parenthesis, raise it to the negative 36, and again use that negative button, and then close the final one, and just double check. These two guys go together, these two guys go together, and these two guys go together. All right, let's punch that on in, 20,000, and always try it twice on your calculator because it's easy to forget a zero and put 2,000 instead of 20,000 or something with the parentheses. So minus parenthesis, 1 plus 0.07 divided by 12, close a parenthesis, raise it to the negative 36, close a parenthesis. And if you get an error message, chances are it's you don't have the same number of forward parentheses as backward parentheses. And it says round to the nearest dollar. I got 617.54, so that's going to be 618. Because it was 617.54, which rounds to 618. So that is the monthly payment for the first loan. So we expect the monthly payment for the second loan. It's a 5-year loan, so we expect that monthly payment to be a little bit less. Find the interest paid on loan A. So again, we have to figure out how much we put in or paid in a sense. You can talk about put in as being deposited or paid. You put in 680, that was a month, 618, that was a monthly payment, all right? For 12 months, that's how we get per year. All right, so 618 a month for 12 months, so that's per year, and then times 3 years. And if you punch that in the calculator, 618 times 12 times 3, you should get 22248. So that's how much that we put in. But the loan was for 20,000. So this is how much we paid in the end. But we actually borrowed 20,000. So we paid 2,248 in interest. And that's actually quite a bit, you know, for 3 years on a $20,000 loan to pay that amount. So, you know, even though it says you're paying 7% interest, you don't actually calculate 7% of 20,000 because remember with these installment loans, you're paying interest on the interest. All right, so that's the amount of interest. Part B says find the monthly payments for loan B. I'm not going to write out the generic formula anymore. We're just going to plug in as we go. Our P was 20,000. Our interest rate on the second one was 9%. Monthly payments mean compounded monthly. 1 minus 1 plus 0.09 divided by 12. Close it to the negative NT, and T was for the second loan was 5 years. And then make sure you close your bracket. All right, so the difference in this, as opposed to the last one, was the interest rate, the 0.09, and the 5 years. So this should give you negative 60. All right, always do that first. So again, try to punch it in your calculator and see if you get the same thing I do. You can pause it if you like. 20,000.09 divided by 12, close, divided by the denominator, 1 minus parentheses 1 plus 0.09 divided by 12, close of parenthesis to the negative 60, close of parenthesis. Always go back and check again. If you get some type of error message, usually it's the parentheses. All right, so we're going to punch it in just like that. 20,000, parenthesis, 0.09 divided by 12, close of parenthesis. You do that, and you round to the nearest dollar. It's 415.16. So it looks like $415, which we expected for a 5-year loan, the monthly payment to be lower. Right? Ideally, you want to make your loan for as short as possible because you pay less interest typically. However, many people can't necessarily afford another $100 a month towards a car, so they take out a longer loan. Find the interest paid for loan B. So again, we have to figure out how much we put in, $450 a month. And this one was for 5 years. 415 times 12 times 5. We put in $24,900. So the interest is the difference between how much we paid total and how much the actual loan was. The loan was $20,000. So $4,900. Part E, compare the monthly payments and the total interest for the two loans, right? So the first loan had a monthly payment. I have to look back at that. The first one had a monthly payment of $618, and the interest that was paid was $2,248. The second one had a lower monthly payment. It was $415 for the monthly payment, but the interest paid was $4,900. So you can see, right, the difference. So for the second loan, it says compare them. The second loan has the lower monthly payment, so we would likely be able to afford the second one better, but a lot more interest is paid. This is just, again, calculator hints. This was that first loan A, how to enter it in. I've written it also on the screen with my pen, but this is just some more calculator hints. You know, I can't overemphasize these parentheses enough. All right, otherwise you just have to do all of your operations out according to the order of operations. If you don't have a calculator, you can see the operations on the screen.